I feel super chill, super calm. I'm at peace. Working, hustling. I'm going to wait till my 300 get in here. And then I'm going to go off. Sister Asia, Big Haas, Reggie Sears, what up? We'll wait till we get to... I met you once at a concert. Thank you for shaking my hand. Well, it was nice to meet you too. You saw In the Heights? No. I was in the Heights today though. There was a lot more black and brown people than I heard that was in the Heights. It's nothing but black and brown people up there. Come on, man. I mean, now you have a lot of light-skinned people too, but they just moved in. They're gentrifying the neighborhood. Stop playing. Yeah, a lot of stuff in the news. There was a really sad and horrible display of hatred in Palestine. There was a march, Israeli Flag Day, and they chanted "Death to Arabs, death to Arabs." And I put it on the story. And I put it on Twitter. And, of course, people reported that. Listen, I've never reported anybody. You know? Report people for what? But apparently people have been reporting my stories. Then there was another school that people found dead indigenous children under. And that was in the Dakotas. One of these schools, I think I explained to you guys in a previous post that I had been taken to. I was taken there by an activist and a revolutionary called Russell Means. And he had a really interesting philosophy. He said a lot of people think the revolution is just the overturning of a system, but he said that a revolution is a complete cycle where we go to civilization, we come to barbarity, we go to organized barbarity that people mistake for civilization, right? And then we come full circle to freedom. Yeah, the school originally was in Canada, but this is one that's in the United States. And I think what the point of that discussion that's kind of been happening is that this happened across the board, not just in Canada, but in the United States and everywhere where indigenous people are basically genocided, tried to be erased from the picture. I read Thomas Sowell, a racial minimalist, but he makes some interesting points about this. It's not like they're not counterable. You know, sometimes people say, hey, you know, the elders that we have, they do have knowledge, but that doesn't mean that they're the end-all, be-all to anything. Someone asked me about Pedro Castillo. Right now, obviously, there's a lot of joy in Peru because the vast majority of the people there despise Keiko Fujimori, despite the lies that are being told out of more conservative circles. See, I think that some people don't realize that a lot of the Peruvians that are here in this country, they're not like me, right? They're not interested in the human rights of Palestine. I'm not going to speak for all Peruvians because I know a lot of them that are down. But a lot of them come here with this really right-wing mentality and these fairy tales and lies that they've been told. I mean, I've met people that are Peruvian that were like, oh, you know, Fujimori was a great man. And I was like, what are you talking about? He routinely sterilized indigenous women. There were murders, countless disappearances. And these weren't communists. These were just people that were critical of the government. What's wrong with you? How could you be so ignorant? But see, that's the reality. A lot of the Peruvians that are here, they really do believe that this is communism. Oh my God, this guy's a communist. Everything's going to be over, which is always the fear factor, right? That's always what they pull. And I think that you got to understand a lot of Peruvians are not like your boy here. A lot of them are on some George Zimmerman shit. Do you understand? A lot of them are super racist and You should hear them not just talk about black people. That's a given. You should see the way they talk about their own people. You should see the way they talk about indigenous people in Latin America. So I think when we talk about the representation of something, it's not just America that gets it wrong, right? It's not just, I mean, it's easy to critique something like the Heights or something else where Latino people are whitewashed. But I mean, in Latin America, it's much worse. You know what I mean? Absolutely. The standard of beauty is pushed away totally from indigenous people. And I think someone said self-hatred is a byproduct of colonialism. That's very true. But also because you've absorbed that person, right? The colonial person has become like a father figure to you, even though you don't realize it. Someone told me that recently, actually, that when you have a lot of success, that you don't have to take an accounting of yourself. And I think that America, by and large, the power structure and a lot of the conservative parts of it that kind of bury their face in the sand, they've never really taken an accounting of America. Someone wrote, Deepak, when is your album dropping? Enough with your I know everything. I don't know everything, but I'm sorry that you felt offended by something I was saying. Like, I mostly get that from people who disagree with my politics. They get angry, and instead of being able to actually talk about facts or the things that I bring up, they bring up something like that, and they get angry. Why are you angry, my brother? You know? Someone asked me, yo, I respect you to the fullest. I've learned a lot from you, but do you know about the Arab slave trade? Yes, absolutely. One of the best books that I've ever read about the Arab slave trade and how it affected East Africa specifically was by an author called Al-Tabari. Now, unlike this coward that spoke earlier, I don't think I know everything, but I read a lot of books and I have a library of my own, brother. So if you would like to read about that history, or if you're asking me about where you could learn about that, Al-Tabari, volume 36, and it's called The Revolt of the Zanj. Thank you. Technique. Do you think it's possible to raise the white working class consciousness of the US and UK? Yes, and I'll explain why. Even all those right-wing freak shows that are all angry at socialism, I understand why they're mad at socialism. It's been working the wrong way here. You've had socialism for the rich. And that's why working class white people feel like shit. Because socialism, we've had it, it just hasn't been available to you. It's been for really rich billionaire classes of people who get their corporations subsidized by the government. They give you money, you know? Someone wrote, look what Cuba and Argentina and socialism did to the country. Look what capitalism did to Nicaragua, El Salvador, and everything else. You're acting like colonialism isn't the reason that those countries are fucked up in the first place. I think reappropriation of land and taking land back isn't the worst thing in the world. How about committing genocide is the worst thing in the world? So before people come up with points like that are just silly right-wing talking points, you know what I mean? The left has its issues, absolutely. And I'm totally willing to discuss those, you know? But my sad reality is that when I talk about things like that, or I mention something like imperialism or Trump, someone immediately will jump in like the ultimate political neophyte and be like, well, oh, then you support Biden? What? Are you stupid? What's wrong with you people? Have you not understood anything? Like, you just read things on Facebook or you listen to articles and you don't even understand the agenda of the people that are writing them, right? I know people that are super pro-black on IG. And when I see them quote an article from a white supremacist, I just have to shake my head. I'm like, all right, y'all are on some space crystal shit and this, but then you quoting right-wing hacks that hate you and think that our people are subhumans, right? Why would you mix with those people? Why would you take them on as an ideological father figure when they don't care about you, right? And I think when we discuss socialism or we discuss communism, I heard a guy, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm not his fucking publicist, but there's a guy who pretty much, leans to the right. And he was talking about sports, and he was like, oh, if these guys at the UFC really hate, the pay they get, you know what they should do? They should form their own company, and they should pay the fighters what they have and do that. And I'm like, this moron is advocating socialism. He just doesn't realize it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say it again. Socialism is the workers controlling the means of production. If a bunch of fighters who are the workers in this situation, right, decided to leave any company, the UFC, the Bellator, Pride, whatever, and they form their own company, and they decided to say, all right, this is a fighters company. We're going to throw the fights we want. We're going to get paid what we want. Instead of having, 18, 20% of the profit margin, we'll get the lion's share. We get 100%, and then we deal out our costs. That's literally the concept of the workers controlling the means of production. Do you understand? So it's just funny that when I see people talk like that, they don't seem to get it. I get you're angry at socialism because it's been working the wrong way here in the United States. When you talk about Venezuela, listen, most people don't know anything about Venezuela, right? They immediately, they'll identify that, and they'll talk about Castro and throw all these people together. I went to Venezuela. I went to a youth conference for revolutionaries while Chavez was in power. I still have a bottle of rum that he gave me. There was a young lady who was at this conference. I never forget her. Although I forgot her name. I'm sorry. It was a crazy day. But she just got up and said something really quick in like 30 seconds. And I didn't have a chance to reach her. She was one of the student leaders. And she said, I'm not a Chavista. I'm not here to support Chavez. I'm here to support the people. And the problem with the system now that exists in Cuba, she said, and is linked with Venezuela, is that we're helping everybody else, but we're not building an infrastructure. We need to build an infrastructure, right? And when I looked at that, I said, wow, she's right. If there's no infrastructure, the moment that Chavez leaves, everything that was built here will be out. And I saw crazy things while I was there, Socialism will never work. Well, here's the problem, Jay Thomas. Capitalism will never work without socialism. That's why you needed bailouts. Go back to college, child, and get off my live. Listen, bailouts, right? We've never seen true any versions of these things when you talk about socialism or when you talk about capitalism. But it's just funny when I see things like that. Socialism will fail. Well, you have to understand something, brother. Capitalism has already failed in this country. When you had $900 billion in bailouts during the Bush administration that were then extended to another 800 plus billion bailouts for banks. Don't you understand, dude? Of course it's not going to work because it's not real capitalism. What you've experienced here is a Ponzi scheme. When Americans talk about, oh, they're just giving immigrants anything. No, they're not. They gave white Europeans everything. There's something called the Dawes Act and the Homestead Act, where they literally gave away hundreds of millions of acres to European immigrants for zero, right? When we talk about immigration and we talk about these things that are kind of transfixed around race, honestly, there's no way to separate those things. Because when I hear the MAGA people talk and they say, well, he wasn't supposed to get deported. He's one of the good ones. Or when I talk to my Irish friends who happen to not have papers in this country, they'll tell me straight up that they were stopped by police or stopped by somebody else. When I talk to my Romanian friends or I meet Albanians or people, and they will straight up tell me, yeah, I got caught by cops for shit, or I got a DUI or blah, 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 or whatever. And he said, we're not looking for people like you. It's not about legal versus illegal immigrants, quote unquote. That's not what we're talking about. It's about them whiteifying the country, them gentrifying this country again. They've always wanted Native Americans out. And what you don't seem to understand is that Mexican people are not immigrants, they're migrants. For the better part of 20,000 years, Millions of people lived in between what we call Mexico now and what is the Dakotas. Up and down, these people went for the better part of 20,000 years, which is why first or second degree students such as yourself who are talking about socialism, you've literally had the idea of borders, politics, colonialism vomiting into your mouth like someone was feeding a baby bird. And unfortunately, your right-wing heroes have done nothing for you, but left you in this. And I can't speak highly of what the left is in this country because the left has abandoned the left in this country. There is no political left. What, was that the Democratic Party? That's not the left. The Democratic Party is a center-right party, and Joe Biden is on the right wing of that party. So what does that make him? What the fuck is wrong with you people? That's why I say there's no left here in America. You're criticizing the Democrats like they're the left. They're not the left. They're a center-right party. Do you understand that? Center to the right of the center. And then in comes beanbag Biden, right? Who's right wing of the center-right party. He's literally an old school Republican. That's what we have here. And when I say this, you have to understand something. The simple concept is to think, oh, the Republicans are evil, the left is good, or these people are evil and the right is good. No. Then you get to the second level where people say, oh man, they're both wings of the same bird. Okay, you've come a little bit farther, but you're not there yet. How about they both serve this fucked up settler colonial state in different ways and benefit different groups of people? Do you understand? There you go. Listen, my job is to just make you people I want to make you think, and I want to make you feel sane. Because a lot of people, they think they're crazy just for being normal. Right? They think they're crazy for just being normal. Are the Democrats planned opposition? If they are, then the Republicans are unplanned opposition. If the Democrats are organized disinformation, the Republicans are disorganized disinformation. Do you know what I mean? That's what you got to realize. Yeah, capitalism. How could you have that when America goes to another country, right, and it brings its corporations there? One quick question for the capitalists that are in the crowd that have no capital, by the way. Right? You're worth negative $400,000. Nice fucking house, though, stupid. Right? But for the capitalists, I have to ask this question. When we go overseas, do we set up a free market or do we set up a monopoly? And aren't most billionaires not really hard workers? They're people who manage to control, right? To control a natural resource like tin or copper or water, which is crazy, like Nestle. That's insane. Water or iron or gold, right? They didn't work really hard every day. They didn't work 10-hour fucking day, you moron. What's wrong with you? They build a monopoly when they go other places. Just so you guys understand that. Okay? They don't go somewhere else and set up freedom and capitalism and free trade. Okay? They go other places and they set up a monopoly. Okay? I think that's crazy. Someone said, aren't they the rewards of competency? Competency at what? Being a good liar or a thief? Is that what we glorify? See, I think that's the problem. That now Europeans are faced with this horrible dilemma. Do we feel proud of our conquests? But you don't even know what's in the conquest. It's like, hey, my mom made that food. Wonderful. Let me eat it now. Do you know what's in the food? What if I told you that there was people in the food? Would you still eat it? What if I told you that the British, in all of their glory and tea sipping, that they pulled a manual, the British manual, right? The sergeant's manual from like 18 some shit out of the museum because it talked about how people in the army of the British Empire were supposed to use rape as a weapon. So you think that colonialism isn't linked to pedophilia and genocide and rape? You think that it's just people coming in and running a country more efficiently than the native people that are there? Who failed in teaching you? Who failed in teaching you? Who failed in teaching you? I'm going to ask you that one more time. Who failed in teaching you? Listen, I love you people, all of y'all, even the ones that are upset, because you helped me use your mangled corpse as a show of what talking points not to use, because they've done nothing for the people. You understand? Peru suffered from a right-wing dictatorship in which the chief of staff of the president was revealed to be a CIA agent who was a narco-trafficant named Vladimiro Montesinos. For all of my fans who know about Peruvian cocaine, the link with the CIA and the drug trade here, right? Human trafficking. That's who Fujimori was mixed up with. Vladimiro Montesinos and the CIA. You can look him up online. It's free. And do you realize that that's what you're backing up when you talk about the Fujimori clan and that section of the right wing? That's what they're doing. And here's something else for the Peruvians that are watching. When Fujimori came to power, he had two big problems. More, but two major problems. He had a left-wing insurgency from several groups, not just the Shining Path, but several groups that had splintered off. And he also had an infiltration, a total infiltration of the government by the major cartels that control Peru. He made a deal with the cartels to make him look good in getting rid of communists. And he let them have the country. You know, if someone really wanted to change things in Peru, they would legalize all drugs. And they would have to be martyred for it. Because you know why? The American economy would lose billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Overnight, the people that were powerful would not be powerful anymore. The people that were in jail for cocaine and crack would not be in jail anymore. It would become a legalized substance and they would have recourse to petition the government for their freedom. The people that were running this, and I hate to tell you this, and someone said trillions, it may be trillions, you're right. I hate to tell you this. But the drug trade isn't something that the CIA uses for slush money to overthrow little countries. No. The drug trade in the United States pays for a major part of this economy. Do you understand that? Here we go. Oh my God. Someone repeated propaganda. Someone said that Castillo was with the Sendero. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the right-wing Peruvian lies. This is where people come in. These people have taken the side of the colonizers. They don't actually care about the people. They want to return to an apartheid like Peru before Velasco, where like light-skinned white Peruvians had it the way that people did here during Jim Crow, and indigenous people were just out of the picture. I'm sorry, we're never going back to that. And also, I think that when we talk about a transfer of wealth, everyone always associates capitalism or communism, and someone else says communism, socialism is the transfer of wealth. Well, what do you think has happened during the pandemic? Why haven't you guys done the science? There's been a transfer of wealth from the very poor, gave up all of their wealth to the rich. How is that not a transfer of wealth? That's the ultimate transfer of wealth. You think that it's a crime for poor people to take money back from rich people? But you think it's normal for rich people to get charity from poor people, right? In your fucked up world, it's normal for the Catholic Church to ask for charity from all of Latin America, these poor countries, while he sits on a throne of gold, and then take those billions of dollars they get, keep 80 to 90% of it, and then give 10% back to charity through them? That's normal to you? You have to understand, it's not that capitalism failed. It's that you and capitalism failed because you both believed in a joke and a lie, right? You got pissed on and someone told you it was trickle-down economics. You got pissed on and you have nothing. And now you have to blame gender or the left because this country went to shit. And when the boomers come around and the old white people, that I can actually talk to these people. Old white Republicans, I can actually talk to those people. You know why? Because they remember stuff about this country that other people don't. Like if I talk to an 80, 90-year-old white person, I'll ask them, hey, after World War II, didn't this country tax other like corporations in this country 90% to rebuild the economy? Yeah, that's true. Weren't you able to support a family with one income? That's true. Didn't you have a really strong social security system that was put into place? Weren't you able to buy a house with a GI Bill with 3% down? That's true. And when old people and elders, right, those old white black people that I love to converse with the elders, I say, listen, what was in the medicine back then? That's my favorite conversation with those people. Because when they talk about walking, I walk to school 4 miles a day. Yeah, Dad, that's because a bottle of Coke had 4 grams of cocaine in it. I'd have run back and forth to school 4 miles if I was on Coke at fucking 8 a.m. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? They were straight up drugs. Opium. Yes, someone wrote opium. Opium, heroin in the medicine. Do you understand? They got your folks hooked. And they got your grandparents hooked. Before they got you hooked. You're a generational addict. You get that? It's a rich man's world and you are a generational addict, motherfucker. I love y'all, man. I love y'all. I love y'all so much. And I appreciate you guys. Look it up. Look it up, please. Don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. Look up drugs in drugs, right? And you'll find it. Ladies and gentlemen, go, whether you agree with me or not, go look it up. You'll see what cocaine was put in. You'll see what heroin was put in. Come on. Your folks are generational addicts. I'm sober as a priest right now. I'm just giving you the truth. Tell me where you're from so I can shout you guys out and get on with my motherfucking life, because I got to warm up dinner. You know, I got to get ready for a big studio day and Rebel Army runs tomorrow. So tell me where you're from. I'll shout you guys out, man. I appreciate you guys. Somebody said Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill? You in Harlem. Rhode Island is in the building. Ontario, California, Orlando, Huntington Beach, Los Angeles in the building, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. Love y'all. My art don't make sense. Maine in the building, Atlanta, Georgia, Riverside, SoCal, San Jose, the Bay Area, Nicaragua. That's what's up, man. Another LA cat. That's what's up. Guatemala, North Carolina. Someone said next door. You funny. Puerto Rico in the building. All right, man. I love y'all. Palestine, Escondido, Compton, Portland, Oregon, Harlem, New York City, Afghanistan. Oh, man, El Salvador, Iowa. I love you guys. Peace. Take care of each other, right? And always, always honor thy mother and father. And thank you for your donations to the Rebel Army Runs. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Someone wrote, "Are you drunk?" Hi, I'm not drunk. I'm just real with y'all today. And I'm sorry if that came across as too much for you. Love you guys. Respect.